Hey everybody, welcome to day 35 of our 2020 focus. As we're reading through the books of the New Testament, we're reading through them in chronological order as best we can, and not necessarily just in the way that they appear in the New Testament. And we're in the book of James, chapter 5. And this is what we read. It says, "Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail because of the misery that is coming on you. Your wealth is rotted, and moths have eaten your clothes. Your gold and silver are corroded. Their corrosion will testify against you and eat your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Look, the wages you failed to pay the workers who mow your fields are crying out against you. The cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgent. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the innocent one who was not opposing you. Be patient then, brothers and sisters, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, patiently waiting for the autumn and spring rains. You too, be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near. Don't grumble against one another, brothers and sisters, or you will be judged. The judge is standing at the door. Brothers and sisters, as an example of patience in the face of suffering, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. As you know, we count as blessed those who have persevered. You have heard of Job's perseverance and have seen what the Lord finally brought about. The Lord is full of compassion and mercy. Above all, my brothers and sisters, do not swear, not by heaven or by earth or by anything else. All you need to say is a simple yes or no. Otherwise, you will be condemned. Is anyone among you in trouble? Let them pray. Is anyone happy? Let them sing songs of praise. Is anyone among you sick? Let them call the elders of the church to pray over them and anoint them with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer offered in faith will make the sick person well. The Lord will raise them up. If they have sinned, they will be forgiven. Therefore, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective." Elijah was a human being, even as we are. He prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the land for 3.5 years. Again he prayed, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth produced its crop. My brothers and sisters, if one of you should wander from the truth, and someone should bring that person back, remember this: whoever turns a sinner from the error of their way will save them from death and cover over a multitude of sins. All right, now this is somewhat of a challenging chapter because he seems kind of scattering from place to place. And so there could be parts of this that speak to you in a different way than others. But there's one part of it that I do think we read, and very often we automatically jump past. Because it doesn't sound like it's addressed to us when we read the words in verse 1. Now listen, you rich people. We read those words and we go, yeah, listen, rich people, because when we hear the term rich people, we always have somebody else in mind. There's always somebody who has more than us, and that's the rich person. When if you really look, especially in the standard of the first century, if James had a peek at how we live, about what our lives look like, about the things that we get to enjoy, the part of, yes, are there people who have extreme poverty here in our culture? Sure, there are. Not a question. We serve a lot of different groups to try to relieve poverty. So clearly poverty is a part of what's around us. However, if we think that we are, just kind of just getting by. We're middle income. That's true in our culture, in our context. It is not true in the world. In the world in which we live, we are vastly, vastly wealthier than the rest of the world around us. And if you compare us to the past, oh my goodness, the way rich people lived in James' world, we would be considerably more wealthy than they are. So when he says, now listen, you rich people, don't wiggle out of that. That is being written to you. And this is what he says: weep and wail because of the misery that is coming on you. Your wealth is rotted, and moths have eaten your cloths. Your gold and silver corroded. And then he says, you've hoarded wealth in the last days. This idea of living for yourself, this concept of, this greedy desire for more. I was talking with somebody Sunday, and they reminded me of a quote where a person said, what, what does it mean to be rich? And they said, having one more dollar than I have right now. It's always just a little bit more. It's always something we're chasing. And here's the deal. We're in the last days. There's no question we're in the last days. We've been in the last days for 2,000 years. That this is something where, Christ's kingdom is coming. This world is going to end the way it is right now. And we don't live for this world. We live for a world that's better than this world. We live for a world that's beyond this world. And so that we use the things of this world for our own pleasures, that's just not Jesus' way. The way that we should be using the things of this world is for the benefit of those around us. We're called to live generous lives, to be rich in good deeds towards other people. You see this time and time again throughout the scriptures. And it is considered a mark against us that we live in luxury and allow others to suffer around us. That's just not the Christian way. Does that mean we don't enjoy the things we have? No, we do enjoy them. Paul addresses that. But they're not just for us, and they're not just for our enjoyment. And as a matter of fact, you talk to people who learn how to live in a generous way, you're going to find out they love being generous more than they like getting stuff, because it's a joy to be able to share. And so we need to look out and make sure that we're not getting caught up in the materialism of our world. It is so easy to do it. I've been guilty of it. I am guilty of it. I can't even let myself off the hook. It's constantly a prayer. All right, God, help me to have your vision of my resources, so that I don't live in a way that simply consumes everything around me, but I live a generous life. So anyway, that's the part that jumps out at me as I read James chapter 5. And so hope you enjoyed that. We are moving on tomorrow to Galatians chapter 1. And so we look forward to seeing you there. Bye.